Kia ora everyone, just making a quick little video to let everyone know that I just found out that QAnon, have been stealing my work and passing it off as military informant deep state stuff, and they've been doing it for years. If you look at my X and my Instagram and all of that, I've put everything up there. And now, because I found out from talking to someone on X that Q is the military, and so now the whole Rocio Rey Nunez thing makes sense, and why the FBI didn't do anything, and why the police haven't done anything, and why people have been shutting me down is because I'm their gravy train. It seems like they've been watching my stuff for years, and Rocio Rey Nunez, who's in the Air Force, and students in that they've been feeding them stuff for years. They've been feeding off my stuff for years, and then passing them off as future events, and letting people know about this and letting people know about that. But the thing is that they were stealing unstable physics. They were stealing jumps that hadn't been completed yet, or they had incorrect codes put in them. So then here they are putting stuff out there, giving people all these false hopes about, future events and stuff that didn't happen because I'd gotten them wrong. I'd gotten the codes wrong because I was still learning. I hadn't figured it out yet. I hadn't ascended. I hadn't, gone through everything that I had to go through in order to perfect my jump stability. So while I've been swallowing poison for Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, and it turns out the King of England, in order to defend my physics against doctors and the police and an ex-husband and a whole society of people who said that what I was doing was a mental illness, where I was forced to swallow poison twice a day to an extent where my stomach just hasn't recovered from it. The Democrats, the Republicans, Donald Trump, all of them, QAnon this, QAnon that, Q that, Q this, Q that. All the merchandise, all the stuff that's gone out off my work. Nobody's mentioned my name. I've not gotten paid for it. Off my work. That is apparently a mental illness. So it's a mental illness as long as it's known as the physics of Debbie Callahan, but it's a political missile or bullet or firearm for the rest of the world and social media and the media to use when it's called Q or QAnon. It's QAnon, anonymous, because they don't want people to know that it's my work. I'm Q. TQM, the quantum menace. I'm Q. And Elon Musk is burying all my work. He's not, he's completely messed with my X. Donald Trump knows all about it, by the way. Nothing's been done. Nothing's been done. Someone questioned Donald Trump when I went to them and said, I think Q's a fraud. So, so I've had 2.5 years away from my boys, been accused of being mentally ill because of a physics that the British establishment didn't understand, where I was forced to swallow pills in order that were poisoning me to defend what I was saying about my work and my role to protect people like Vladimir Putin. I have been treated like absolute crap by certain Russian people. How many of them would swallow poison for their president? I did. every day, twice a day, vomiting until my scars split open. I did that for Vladimir Putin, and I get called an Anglo-Saxon dog. So, not by Putin, but, it's like God just says to me, please just do what I'm asking you to do. I promise this works out better than you expect. I'm not angry. I'm not even disappointed or sad anymore. I'm just absolutely determined to rip the heads off every single person who called me mentally ill when Republicans and Democrats and social media and the news and that have been feeding off my physics for years. And I've not gotten a single penny. I've not gotten any credit. I just got forced to medicate and locked away from my children, whom I found out, by the way, I could have been having access to any time I wanted, because my ex doesn't actually have legal full custody of my boys. When I got locked away, he was given custody as, automatically the parent. I've not been served any papers to say I couldn't go near my kids, and then I found out the other day, oh no, you can see them. You're just not obligated to look after them financially. 2.5 years, and I found that out. So, when I was reaching out to the Crown Prosecution Service, when I was reaching out to Keir Starmer, to Rishi Sunak, to Jesse Phillips, to the US Army, the US Air Force, Donald Trump, the Houses of Parliament, I reached out to everyone, the New Zealand government, New Zealand MPs, all of that, the Treaty of Waitangi Tribunal, the Ngāti Raukawa Tribe Council. I reached out to all of them, and they were all like, well, the British know what they're doing. Other than the New Zealand High Commission, they were the only ones that did anything, because they all, well, if it's a mental illness, and then it turns out, no, it wasn't a mental illness. It turns out that I just do physics that moronic doctors, it's way over their head, because, it's coming from a barefoot Indigenous woman who has no education. So they looked at it and thought, oh, this sounds crazy. She's saying all this stuff. Lock her up, shove medicine down her throat. So she's vomiting so hard she can't swallow for nearly 2 years. My throat has never, ever, ever recovered. And my stomach as well. I'm in searing agony every other day because of my stomach. Keir Starmer threatening to cut off my disability for being a fraud, and that being too thick to realise that the reason why I'm on disability is because of his country forcing me to medicate over physics that the Democrats and Republicans and the rest of the world have been feasting off under the name of Q. Because when they've been looking at it under the name of Debbie Callahan, oh no, it's a mental illness. I wonder if I could go back on how many times has the British government mentioned Q in discussions in the media and that. It would be really interesting to see, because every time anyone in the world has mentioned the word Q, they're talking about me, mate. That's my work. That's my physics. So I should be suing every person out there who has ever mentioned the word Q or QAnon, because I'm Q. My work is QAnon. And people like Rocio Rey Nunez of the United States Air Force have been selling my work to the military and passing it off as their own, and giving people false hope that things were going to happen at certain times, and that, selling my unstable physics, the unstable codes. So then what's happened is they've gone and put all of this out there with the help of people like Elon Musk, And now the reason why America's in the state that it's in is because they've been predicting unstable physics. They've been telling people all this stuff I was getting wrong, getting codes wrong, like the combination lock. How can I explain it? It's like codes go inside phases inside the ion particles of atoms in the Earth's atmosphere, and I read the codes, and they transform into my brain like a binary code that when I flick through the binary code, it becomes visual images, and I am right there. I walk around these places. I can taste, touch, see everything. I feel what the person's feeling. I know what they're thinking. I know what they're seeing. I am right there because I soak in the atmosphere. I read codes and ion particles in the atmosphere. But when I get a code wrong, I can get the jump wrong, which means I get the prediction wrong. What I'm seeing, there will be things wrong. And when you get time theory wrong, it destabilizes the ion particles surrounding the Earth's atmosphere, which is why the Schumann resonance is so dangerous and why Elon Musk's healing towers are so dangerous, because he's literally tried to force biorhythmics into massive electrical towers and that, but biorhythmics have to be organic. Bio, that's the word bio, biological, organic, so healing, you can't put healing into electrical towers and stuff, but those towers, and I put the research up on X, and Donald Trump's seen it, I believe, were responsible for Hurricane Helene. It's all there on my X. It's all there. He's hidden it, but it is all there. Those towers emit cobalt, which is fatal. Cobalt, it can kill people. These towers, when turned to, he thinks because he's using, like the healing frequency through massive electrical towers, it's like basically saying to people, I'm going to heal your mind by shooting you in the head with a bullet, but he's using cobalt to do it. And the known side effects of these towers and what he's doing, because the research has been done and it is all there, they cause like aggression and anger and high blood pressure in people. They cause people to riot and act crazy and do stupid things. And the Schumann resonance, which is controlled by what? Satellites. And who has the satellites? Starlink. So they fiddle with the frequencies and put them through these towers and shoot people in the head with these energy waves that's making them angry and sad and depressed and suicidal and, act out and stuff like that. That's based on my biorhythmics shoved into a tower. Like, that's the whole thing that I realized when I thought I was developing the God phone as an actual product, is that electricity can't work with biorhythms, because it's like shooting you in the head. It's like, what would be the opposite of kinetic energy? Kinetic energy goes out. So, telepathy is called mind bullets. Telepathy. Telekinesis is called mind bullets. Like when paranormal activity and things fall off the wall and things get moved around the floor and things go flying off shelves and cupboards open and that, it's not a ghost. It's not paranormal activity, it's supernatural activity. Someone in the house is stressed out and they're holding it in. And so it comes off, or they're depressed, or, they're going through things. or someone in the house who used to live there was going through all of that, and then someone currently living in the house is absorbing that energy, and it's like nervous stress or nervous tension kind of thing, and it builds up as kinetic energy and fires off as a mind bullet, and because like energy has to go somewhere, so it'll hit things off the wall and it'll push objects, and people think it's ghosts, and it's not. It's kinetic energy. It is a paranormal event, a paranormal occurrence as a result of supernatural activity. So this misuse of energy in these towers is absolutely criminal, and I absolutely 100% believe that Elon Musk is involved. I know that he can kill me, he can sue the life out of me, but I will stand there and defend myself in court with the evidence that I have, that I've been shown. I absolutely 100% believe that he was involved, and I told Donald Trump, Starlink, there's. I'm so upset, not just for the fact that I was nearly murdered twice defending my science by my ex-husband, by the NHS. I was set up by crooked cops from the West Yorkshire Police, ignored by the US Army and Air Force every time I reached out to them, every time I reached out to Donald Trump to say, look, she's Rocio Rey Nunez, she hacked my phone, but now I know why. Now I know why none of this has been touched or none of it's been looked at, because I've been the gravy train. And I guess when they tried to kill me, maybe they thought they'd gotten enough out of me, but they didn't realise that it was in the event of them trying to kill me and me being locked up and having to survive it all, they ended up making me even more powerful. Because now my jumps, I've just got to the codes are coming in so thick and fast now. I energetically, I can guarantee you, I will absolutely be the most powerful woman in the world. I just have to point my finger and the job gets done. So, like I said, gloves are off, my wings are out. I'm ready to go. I'm no more Mrs. Nice Guy. They stole my work. They've been passing it off. They've been giving people false hope. I don't know what Rocio Rey Nunez has gotten out of it, but I know what my ex-husbands and that have gotten out of it. So, she tried to kiss my son when he was 7. That's what my husband left me for. A traitor to America. And she's had the backing of who? The Army, the Air Force, the FBI, like the whole lot. While I've been trying to defend my king that Starmer and his government are trying to kill, the Queen. They murdered the Queen. They killed our Queen. They killed Queen Elizabeth with the COVID injection. They admitted it. They admitted that the COVID thing was an experiment, that that it was all a test, that these vaccines are unstable, but they gave her the injection anyway. And I said to the king, they're trying to dissolve the Commonwealth. They want to sell the Commonwealth off. And now look, Gibraltar, Falklands, Mauritius, like everything I've said, everything I've been saying, because I've become so powerful. And I think that's why they haven't sent someone to assassinate me, because my predictions have been too accurate. They're feeding off my predictions. I'm their gravy train. Well, it stops now because I'm not going to be making any more predictions public. I'm trying to figure out what kind of lawyer that I need. I'm sitting here, I've spent all day trying to figure out what I'm even going to say to them to explain all of this. But it needs to be done, because this needs to be stopped. Because when my physics is unstable, it can cause catastrophic effects to people, to the planet, to the weather, to cosmic events. When energy is unstable, I mean, it's called a bomb when it drops, when it lands. My energy is a bomb. And when it's unstable, axis mundi. When you're the axis mundi, when your stratosphere is unstable, if you have, just say, 1,000 atoms in a balloon and 912 of them are stable and the rest aren't, it's just gonna, what's gonna happen? The balloon's just gonna spin and be unstable because of the gravity of the missing atoms or the missing, what am I saying? I can see it in my head. I can't even believe this is happening. It's all because I figured out that Donald Trump isn't the third King of David bloodline. It's actually President Bukele of El Salvador. Because my codes were unstable. Because when I was working all of this out, I hadn't fully ascended yet. I hadn't fully figured the physics out. But then I did. And everything got flipped on its head. Literally everything got flipped upside down. And it's all on my ex. But I'm letting people know now. If I end up dead, it wasn't suicide. I love my life. I've always loved my life. Since I became a mum, I've always loved my life. My life began when I became a mum. I live for my children. So if I turn up dead, it wasn't suicide. I'm not on any medication. I'm fit and healthy. I have a good diet. I don't put any chemicals near my body. I don't drive. I don't drink alcohol. I don't leave the house because I was told there was a hit out on me. Like, if you see her, hit her with your car sort of thing. So, don't make it obvious. So I've been locked in here for God knows how long. Can't go to the cops because they're all corrupt. Because they've spent like PC Violet, PC Right, all of them set me up, conspired, false evidence, writing false reports. But now I know why. Because the Democrats and Republicans and social media and all these governments and that need something to go off. I knew years ago when I had my blog, I was told by somebody that I was being watched by the Russians, the Chinese, the British, the Americans, and I think the French. I know it was definitely the Russians, the Chinese, the British, and the Americans. I was told that, this was going back like 2017, 18, that police were like doing scans of the house, listening, doing scans and that. And then my WordPress got shut down when I started talking about the Hillary Clinton stuff with Frazzled Rip and, so I just walked away from it all. But now I know why. Now I know why suddenly everybody walked out of my life. Because they were all going to make money off my work. But it was unstable. They sold unstable atoms. And now as a result, putting it all out there through their broadcasting and their Wi-Fi's and their towers and their satellites and that, they've put all of these predictions out there that have created an unstable Earth. Energy has to go somewhere, and when atoms are unstable, and then you put electricity into all of that, you've basically turned the planet into a unstable nucleus. So the insanity, that's why you're seeing all these crazy lunatic government leaders and that going on about, oh, you know, we've got to kill 6 billion and, you know, pedophiles is legal and, you know, all the men walking around in ball gowns with beards and people running around stabbing random people and that's what happens, that's the result. And when you put those quote-unquote healing towers and all of that, and Soros buying up all the radio stations to pump out these unstable frequencies, you get a world of insanity. That's why we're seeing, you know, the normal logical people are sitting back going, holy crap, what the hell, like the world's just gone insane. Well, yeah, unstable physics. This is what happens when militaries and governments and that think they know more than Indigenous people when it comes to energy and how it works within the universe. That's why you've got Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and that, total acts of insanity being passed off as completely normal because of unstable physics. I am really, really interested to see any media stuff out there of anything being talked about, mentioned Q and QAnon, any products, any merchandise, any advertising, sponsorships and that based around Q, because it's all mine. And it's copyright infringement. Or what's it called if you copy someone's science? But because they're billionaires and prime ministers and presidents and stuff, you know, she's just a nobody. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not nobody, because God put me here for a reason. And he gave me this wahanui for a reason, this big mouth. And I can't let it slide, because my physics affects people's lives. I developed my physics to save lives and to save the minds of the most broken-hearted, PTSD'd, lost souls in the world. My physics is a beautiful physics that helps people understand the difference between the paranormal and the supernatural, so it heals their broken hearts and realigns themselves with, you know, healthy minds and, you know, reborn souls. I heal their minds, which heals their hearts, which fixes their bodies and purifies their souls, so that when they die, they get safe passage to the afterlife. No questions. They wouldn't even, Amit and Ma'at wouldn't even question them. Just safe passage to the afterlife, because they'll be pure. They'll die pure. That's my physics. And in order to fine tune it, I've had to test it, which is what my jumps, my predictions in that are. And they've been taking it all, thank you, and I'll have that. And I said, I'm wondering whether maybe they've been using some AI algorithm or something to mix it up, because it seems too sterile. There's no, it's like they've completely removed emotion from it, whereas my stuff is very emotive in that, because often when I'm recording my jumps, I'm sitting with people who are dying in the future. So when I report jumps where I'm sitting with someone who's about to be murdered and then being murdered, and then I'm taking them to the afterlife, they've called me to them. They've allowed me to be a part of that experience so that I can document it as an experiment into my quantum magnetics and that. When I'm witnessing those murders, when I'm sitting there with these people that are about to drive off a cliff in a bus, some of them, well, not some of them, they haven't even died yet. They wouldn't have died, some of them, until 3-4 months. So I'll sit with them when they're dying, and then they'll die 3 or 4 months later. My work is so important as a high priestess because I prepare people for the afterlife. And because of, time being simultaneous, time happening all at once, so the past, present, and future happens all at once, I have to jump in between the past, present, and future in order to keep my physics stable. And if I get a code wrong, I get a prediction wrong, then it can tip the whole axis of the earth energetically. And they're passing it round like it's candy and wondering why the earth's axis is, tipping, tilting, and, the natural disaster, obviously the natural disasters that are actual nature, but people need to understand that when physics is because we're talking about biorhythmics, which is like the frequency and the radio waves, if you will, around your body. So the people who come into your life and the people who are around you physically or have been in your atmosphere physically is your biomagnetic frequency. It's what you bring in and out of your physical person, your safe space. And your biometric frequency is what you think, and basically, biomagnetics would be the realignment of what you think and feel, so that everything is correct, so that what you think is in perfect alignment with your body. When you have a healthy mind, you have a healthy physical body. You can always tell the state of a person by how they age, by how they look. And it's got nothing to do with money, but everything to do with do they have the glow, do they look younger, even like it in your 40s and 50s, and that how fast do you grow grey hairs. Like all of this stuff slows down when your mind is in perfect alignment with your body. But when that is unstable, when what you're thinking is unstable, and the people that you're around is unstable, it turns you into a literal energetic ticking time bomb. And when the biorhythmics is unstable, the first thing to go is your mind. So when you see these acts of insanity from these world leaders and from these, your WEFs and your UNs and your NATO, all these people, your Schwabs and your Gates and all of that, when you're seeing these acts of insanity, that's because it's unstable physics. They've gotten the physics wrong. What they're pumping out through these satellites and broadband and radio and TV and all that, especially if they've been taking anything from me at a time when I hadn't perfected my physics, they've been pumping that out, and it's tipped the scales the wrong way. And if you think of the earth as the scales, when it tips the wrong way, when one side is heavier than the other, when you've got unstable physics, what happens when you tip the world on its side? Like everything's just it's gonna mess up the tides, it's gonna mess up the seasons, it messes up people's brains because mammals live on the circadian rhythm. and it destabilizes the mind. And then you have these acts of insanity. Kamala Harris and Bill Gates and Keir Starmer and Lammy and all that. Like, the world is watching the most unstable, insane people run our planet, wondering why the hell, why is everyone acting so crazy? Because it's unstable physics. And if they've been taking it from me, if they've copied any of my work, and I know that Donald Trump and his wife have made statements based on things that I've tweeted about, and that, thankfully, at a time when my physics, like, once I'd gotten everything fine, but if they had done that a couple of years ago when my physics was unstable, it's just people, scientists, military, for all the trillions that they put into their military, for all the millions that gets pumped into these presidential candidates and their prime ministers and that, for all their money thinking that they know better than me, they've been handing the world unstable physics, causing complete and utter chaos and sanity because they thought they knew better than me, because they took one look at me and thought, she's just a dumb barefoot mighty girl. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's nuts. Kill her or lock her up was pretty much it. Kill her or lock her up. Get rid of her. Don't need her anymore, except I hadn't finished. They thought they were done with me, but God wasn't done with me, and he wasn't done with me learning my physics. And so then what happened was they tried to kill me. They got me locked up. It didn't work, but it made me powerful. It made me very, 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 very powerful, because it gave me all that time to work on exactly how I was going to get back at them for everything they'd put me through. Except when I started this in June of 2020, when my ex put the cocaine in the pizza, and, my friend sold him the laced weed and blah, 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 to kill me off or make me go insane or whatever. It was in me being locked up, and being absolutely determined to defend myself and clear my name and clear my ancestors, because they were saying that Indigenous people were mentally unstable for their faith, for their religion, for their culture, for their practice, absolutely breaking every human rights law, the Indigenous Rights Act, the equality laws here in the UK. All those laws were broken just so that they could steal my work. But they stole unstable physics. I wasn't done yet. It's like they stole the bullet before I'd invented the gun. But now I've got the gun and the bullet. And I'm turning it into a truth bomb. And I'm going to hold every single one of them accountable. I'm going to go through social media and the internet and find every single mention of Q. I need to be able to go through everything that Q has said, or as much as I can get hold of, and compare it to any of the work that I have been doing in quantum magnetics since I started my blog in 2000. Since I got students, in 2016. I started my blog in 2013. And I started getting students in 2016. And Rocio Rey Nunez hacked my phone, but now I know why. I believe that when she hacked my phone and it played my voice back, because it echoed and played my voice back, I'm wondering whether it wasn't for AI purposes, so that they could fraudulently say I'd made a threat against the president or against America or against whatever, that I was a spy, whatever. I think they used AI potentially to alter my voice All I said was hello, hello, like that. And then I hung up, and then it rang back, but I only recorded it on my phone once. And then when I looked it up, it said it was from the German air base in Germany, the army air base right next to where she was stationed in Germany at the Air Force. And then months later, when I went to check again, the phone number had completely vanished, and because she works in telecoms. But now I know why. It's all there on my X. I'll put a link to the conversation about Q in the description box. But this has to stop. I have to stop this. So I need, especially for Indigenous people or any victims of any HARP natural disasters, especially North Carolina and, with Hurricane Helene and now this Hurricane Milton, we need to get this out to as many people as we can so that you can all be aware of what's going on, so that you can turn your attention away from the things that are being put out there with the express purpose of messing with your head, to instill fear in you, because they feed off the fear. These demons inside their insanity, like with the Adrenochrome, they feed off the fear. It's insanity. We're seeing. See, what happens is, the way my physics works is that it either ascends you or descends you. So it either raises your vibration or it lowers your vibration. Because, demons are irritated by the light. They're attracted to it, but they're irritated by it. So when you see people with pure hearts, doing humanitarian things and reaching out in love and, and compassion and, call for humanitarian oneness and all of that, and then you see them getting attacked by the angry, vicious, like complete acts of insanity, that's because their light is irritating the dark side of the demons inside the minds of the insane. Because sane people would look at you and go, they're doing a really wonderful, noble thing. Let's join the cause and work together in order to heal the planet. But insane people look at all that love and light and go, what the hell? I need to break that. Like it triggers their demons. And so they fly into rages, and you look at them and you think, what the hell? That's because the light has triggered the demons inside the minds of the insane. So now that you know all of this, and you're seeing these people in the media and, these celebrities and these billionaires and these parliamentarians and these, corporate leaders and whatever, these military leaders and that, now you know all this. When you're seeing all these acts of insanity, people walking around the street in the supermarket dressed like, bondage horses and crap like that, now you know why. Unstable physics. I might not have an education, but I know how energy works. When it comes to energy, there is no one on the planet that will know it better than me. I'm sorry. It's true. Because I don't look at it. See, everybody else only knows energy by how it's contained and not how it is when it is free flowing, when it's organic and natural and biological. But Indigenous people know that. And that's why God put me here. He sent me here. He toughened me up. He gave me my armour. He put my wings on my back, my sword and shield, and said, go down and fix it because you're the only one who can. But I can't do it on my own. Like, I'm putting it out there, and I can continue to show you what to do to how to fix this, but I need to know you're out there. Because this has to be stopped. It's enough is enough. We've got Russia being treated like crap because they're trying to defend the Holy Land, because, you know, God has stated that Jerusalem will no longer belong to Israel. It's been removed from them, and will be handed to Russia. So the new Holy Land, the second coming of Christ, it will happen in Russia. And he's trying to make sure that happens. You've got the Ukrainians saying bomb the Russians so that we can build the new Jerusalem in the Ukraine. So, you know, the rent boys running around trying to mimic the Holy Land, because obviously when you have psychopaths and narcissists and that, empathy is something they don't know. They lack the empathy gene. So they have to mimic and mirror the light. They have to mimic and mirror godliness, because they don't know how to do it. They can't feel and express naturally. So they mimic, they mirror everything. So the Ukraine's going to try and mirror the Holy Land, which, you know, an opposite land means basically hell, the Antichrist. If if Russia is the embodiment of God, then the mirror to that would be hell and the devil, the Antichrist. You know, Baphomet is responsible for all of what we've seen, you know, within the LGBT community and within our militaries, and just these absolute acts of illogical, unreasonable insanity, because of unstable physics. And if I'm just curious to see how many professors, how many broadcasters, how many journalists, how many politicians, how many business people, how many world leaders have discussed Q and QAnon, because for the most part they're talking about my work that got me locked up. So this needs to be rectified. So now I've got to try, like, I need to find a lawyer who specialises in, what would it be, corporate fraud, copyright, because I don't even know, is it copyright? Is it a copyright thing to steal someone's scientific work? Is it called copyright, or is it something else when it's to do with science and innovation and all of that? Is copyright just pertaining to, like, literature? Anyway, so I'm putting it out there. I think my biggest fear, I'm not even scared of, like, if they're going to kill me, what can I do? If my time's up, my time's up, as long as my boys are safe. I say I'm not afraid of dying, I'm just afraid of dying before I get to set my boys free, because they're still with my attempted murderer. I want to clear my name, but it's important I clear my name. I have to clear my name, because to clear my name sets my ancestors free, because it's my ancestors that taught me all of this. So I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for Indigenes. Sick and tired of people treating Indigenous people like we don't even exist, like our opinion doesn't matter, like nothing we do matters. We're not even given the same importance as African American people, Israelis, even, bless them, like Palestinians and that. We're not even, Indigenous people aren't even given the same recognition. You never hear anyone talking on the news about reservations this and tribal that, unless there's been like a slaughter or a massive accident or whatever. But we never talked about. We're the forgotten people. And we were the first ones here. But people think because we were the first ones here, we don't know anything. But Egyptians, Neanderthals and that, were doing brain surgery long before we had hospitals. So, you know, it's, yeah, I have to do something about it. It's not right. You know, people are being slaughtered because of unstable physics, because of insanity, because of absolute acts of insanity. And, you know, the logical people are sitting there saying, you know, and the people with hearts in there sitting there saying, what the hell's going on? Well, now you know why. So now I've got to do something about it. I've got to find a lawyer. I've got to find out how I'm even going to tell the story to the lawyer. Is this video going to be enough, as well as links to all my stuff on Instagram and that, or like, I just don't know, but something's got to be done. Otherwise, these people are going to end up killing us all, every single one of us, running nuclear bombs. Oh, I've got nuclear bombs. Oh, look at me, I've got the nuclear. Do they not realise that the first moron to drop a nuclear bomb is going to end up wiping out their country and pretty much every other country around them to oblivion? Because the first person to drop the bomb is going to give every other country with the bomb an excuse to drop the bomb on them. So they're pretty much just, it would be a murder-suicide. Nuclear bomb. What are we? It's not 1612-9. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. We can put all this stuff on Mars and have telescopes and that on people's phones that can take beautiful, clear images of Saturn, and instead of using all that money to go and explore space, we're still making nuclear bombs like it's like 1940 something. I mean, have we learnt nothing? Like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, grow up. The only way to fight a war is in the courts or a boardroom. People who fight wars resulting in dropping bombs on each other are starting to lose their minds. They've lost all sense of logic and reason, unless it's because they're defending themselves from the Antichrist. So I'm fired up now. So now I've got to sit here and think about how I'm going to approach the lawyer. I'm going to have to do a lot of Q research, but I've got to get the truth out, because all the logical people out there need to know what to do. And if they want my help on what to do and how to get rid of, just turn away from the fear and start working on themselves to ascend themselves so that we can rebalance the scales, you're going to have to let me know. I don't know if anyone's out there because I've been hacked. You know, they mess with my algorithms and that. So I had things on X where it flashed up and said that I had 220,000 views, and then it flipped to 1. And I had another one where it said I had 7,000, and then it flipped to 1. I see my views go from like 200 to 15, you know. So I don't know if any of you are out there. I just know that they're letting me broadcast enough that they can steal from me, but I'm not putting any more work out there. You know, they don't know half the stuff that I've put out that I thought I was putting into a phone. But now I understand it all. Like, now I know what to do. Like, I understand it now. But I've got to let you know, the election might not go the way people think it's going to go in America. And you might, you know, the Commonwealth countries might need to prepare for the fact that we're no longer going to have a monarchy. But I tried to warn President Trump, and I tried to warn the king. The only person that listened was Vladimir Putin. Still got called an Anglo-Saxon dog though. Not by him, but, and a whore. So, yeah. Just remember, if I end up dead, it wasn't suicide.